In 2021, a 19-year-old college dropout turned 8K into 1.2 million live streaming every second of it to 300,000 followers. He didn't just make money, he made a movement. Discord servers exploded. Reddit threads went nuclear. Meme stocks, crypto pumps, YOLO trades. It wasn't about fundamentals. It wasn't even about risk. It was about belonging. For a moment, traders weren't chasing charts. They were chasing community validation. But then, the music stopped. Screenshots of six-figure gains were replaced with silent exits. Private group chats went dark. Some influencers disappeared altogether. Others pivoted from hype calls to talking about discipline, emotional control, and longevity. It was a quiet shift, but it's changing the psychology of trading forever. Because the same influencers who taught you to chase moonshots are now teaching you to build mental armor. This isn't a story about one trader or even one movement. It's about how the loudest voices in the room are reprogramming what traders value and how your brain, if you're not careful, can be rewired for the wrong kind of edge. Scroll back to the peak of meme mania, and it felt like every trade was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Every influencer's live stream felt like an adrenaline shot. It was fast, loud, profitable, at least for a while. And for many, that was the gateway drug to trading. But here's the thing nobody told you. The hype was never sustainable. Not for the markets, not for the traders, and definitely not for your nervous system. Influencers didn't just sell trade ideas, they sold psychological blueprints. They taught an entire generation of traders to value speed over patience, crowd consensus over self-trust, and being in over being right. That blueprint shaped your habits, your triggers, your emotional anchors. And now, some of those same voices are realizing they built something dangerous. They're trying to pivot from hype to discipline, from dopamine to durability, from playing the market to playing the long game. In this deep dive, you are going to learn exactly how influencer culture has rewired trader psychology and how to take back control. We'll break down the 3 psychological addictions born from the meme era, why influencers shift toward mental mastery are changing trader behavior at scale, how to spot when mindset talk is genuine and when it's just rebranded hype, the 5 internal rewires that make you influence-proof for life. And if you stick to the end, you'll get the one mental model that top-level traders use to filter every single idea they see online. This alone can save you years of trial and error. So here's my question for you. Are you trading your edge, or are you trading someone else's energy? Drop your answer in the comments. Chapter 1. The Meme Stock Mindset. How hype became a trading drug. He didn't read balance sheets, didn't care about PE ratios, didn't even know what float meant, but he could recite every trending ticker on Wall Street bets in under 10 seconds. Every morning was the same. Wake up, open Twitter, open Reddit, and find the hottest play of the day. Not because it had edge, but because it had energy. In the meme era, trading wasn't about skill. It was about being part of the swarm. When your favorite influencer posted and your feed lit up with gifs of moon landings, it wasn't analysis. It was a dopamine trigger, and it worked at least for a while. GameStop, AMC, Dogecoin, Shiba, one massive green day after another. But here's the problem. Dopamine isn't the same as discipline, and the meme stock mindset was never built for longevity. Neuroscience makes it crystal clear. Dopamine spikes don't come from the reward, they come from anticipation of the reward. That's why hype felt so intoxicating. It wasn't just about making money, it was about expecting something big. Every candle was a potential lottery ticket. The danger? Once you tie your trading motivation to hype, you become addicted to the feeling of being in the next big thing even when the setup is garbage. The pattern looks like this. Signal from influencer. Anticipation spike. Crowd piles in. FOMO hits hard. Price rips. Short-term euphoria. Crash or fade. Pain, blame, repeat. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. And like any addiction, you need bigger and faster hits to feel the same rush. When the music stopped in late 2021, many traders didn't just lose money. They lost direction. Without hype, they didn't know what to trade. Without swarm validation, they didn't know if they were right. Without daily dopamine, they didn't know how to care. That's the real danger of the meme stock mindset. It erodes your ability to self-generate conviction. Here's the sneaky part. Hype trains don't just mess with your entries. They rewire your risk tolerance. During peak meme season, size creep became the norm. People who never risked more than 1% were suddenly all in on a call option, expiring in 48 hours. Why? Because everyone else was. And in the moment, it didn't feel reckless. It felt safe in numbers. And the influencers, most weren't malicious. They were caught up too. A 500K P&L post gets 10 times the engagement of a careful lesson on risk management. Algorithms reward excitement. The crowd rewards fireworks. So hype became the default language. And traders learned to respond to that language faster than they could respond to their own trading plan. In psychology, this is called mirroring bias. Your brain subconsciously matches the energy and behavior of the people you surround yourself with. Scroll through enough posts of people bragging about 200% gains in 24 hours, and your baseline for acceptable results warps. Slow, consistent gains start to feel boring. Danger starts to feel normal. That's not strategy failure. That's environmental conditioning. So what happens when the hype fades? The withdrawal hits. Your brain still craves the rush. Normal trades feel flat. You start forcing setups just to feel something. You bounce between tickers hoping for the next moon play. You tell yourself you're scanning, but really you're chasing a ghost. Action step. Run a hype detox week. For 7 days, trade without Twitter alerts, Reddit threads, influencer watch lists, or Discord hot lists. Just your own scans, your own plan, your own conviction. Track how it feels. The discomfort you feel without hype is the withdrawal symptom of dependence. Once you can trade through that discomfort without needing an external spark, you've started rewiring your decision-making back to your own edge. Chapter 2. The Influencer Hangover. When the hype dealers go sober. At the height of the meme craze, influencers were the market's rock stars. Live streams pulling tens of thousands. Their watch lists moved tickers. Their P&L screenshots became motivation posters. Then the tide turned. Regulators started sniffing around. High-profile blow-ups made headlines. Emojis started asking harder questions. Hey, are you still trading this stuff yourself? Why didn't you warn us before it dumped? If you're so profitable, why sell courses? The dopamine rush turned into a trust deficit. Some influencers doubled down on hype, louder calls, water claims, more emotional plays, but others, they did something rare in internet culture. They pivoted. They started talking about emotional discipline, position sizing, process journaling, and long-term sustainability. They swapped YOLO thumbnails for videos titled "Why I Stopped Overtrading" and "The Mental Game That Saved My Account." It was like watching a DJ switch from bass drops to guided meditation. Here's what's fascinating. The pivot wasn't just ethical. It was psychological. Many influencers were victims of their own hype machine. They had to keep trading bigger just to keep followers engaged. They took trades they didn't like because the audience expected action. They lived on constant adrenaline. That's not sustainable for anyone, especially if millions of eyes are watching every move you make. When some of them stepped back, they started noticing the same things their followers were feeling. Emotional burnout, decision fatigue, dopamine crashes after big days, identity crises when the market cooled, and they began reframing their influence not as leading the next pump, but as mentoring mental mastery. The cultural shift. This influencer pivot has quietly changed the trading culture for an entire segment of retail traders. Communities that once rewarded wild overnight gains are now celebrating consistent green weeks. Followers who once chased every call-out are now posting screenshots of their journals and risk calculators. It's not a total transformation hype still sells, but the presence of a counter-narrative matters. Because seeing the same voice that once told you to risk it all now say, slow down, think, protect your capital, hits differently than hearing it from a stranger. Why some influencers don't make the pivot? It's not always stubbornness, sometimes it's economic survival. Hype content gets clicks. Mental mastery content, not so much. There's less urgency, less drama, less shareability. For influencers whose income relies on affiliate commissions, ad revenue, or trading group subscriptions, slowing down the content pace can feel like financial suicide. That's why the pivot, when it happens, is such a powerful signal. It means they're willing to risk numbers for integrity. In behavioral science, there's something called source credibility bias. We place far more weight on advice from someone we already trust, even if that advice directly contradicts what they told us before. That's why the influencer pivot works. You already build emotional trust during the hype phase. Now that trust can be leveraged to deliver healthier mental models. And here's the kicker. When someone admits they were wrong or says, "I used to trade recklessly, now I don't," it creates a vulnerability loop. Research from Dr. Brené Brown and social psychologist Jeff Poser shows that this kind of vulnerability increases perceived trustworthiness. So ironically, pivoting away from hype can deepen the influencer-follower bond if the audience is ready to hear it. One mid-tier YouTube trader I tracked went from daily meme stock alerts to deep dive psychology breakdowns. At first, views tanked. Comments accused him of selling out or getting soft. But within a year, his audience was smaller yet far more loyal, engagement was deeper. Followers started posting their own before and after results. One even said, "You saved me from blowing my third account." That's the long game. Fewer eyeballs, but stronger impact. Action step. Identify 3 voices you follow closely in trading. Ask yourself, have they evolved their message? Do they promote self-reliance or dependence on their calls? Does following them improve my emotional control or agitate it? Then make a choice. Follow only those who reinforce the trader you want to become, not the trader you were when hype ran your decisions. Chapter 3. The 3 psychological addictions that survived the meme era. When the hype faded, most traders thought the worst was over. No more wild 200% overnight moves. No more chat rooms chanting "to the moon," no more chaos. But the chaos didn't disappear, it went internal. Because what the meme era left behind wasn't just blown accounts. It was addictions so ingrained in trader psychology that they survive long after the charts go quiet. Addiction number 1, the adrenaline chase. Meme trading was constant stimulation. Every tweet felt urgent. Every chart looked explosive. Every minute was a potential life changer. And your nervous system adapted to that pace. In neuroscience, this is called arousal habituation. Once your baseline level of excitement rises, normal conditions feel flat. That's why post-meme traders often overtrade during slow markets, chase random tickers, abandon their plan just to feel in the game. It's not poor discipline, it's withdrawal. One trader I worked with was profitable during the meme run, but only because the market offered a dozen high volatility plays daily. Once conditions slowed, he started forcing scalps on setups he didn't even understand. When I asked why, he said, "I just can't stand not being in something. It feels wrong to sit out." That's not strategy, that's the biochemical pull of an adrenaline addiction. The fix? You can't willpower your way out. You need a stimulation taper, just like an athlete tapering before a marathon. Cut trading days. Trade 3 days a week, journal the other 2. Low stim tasks. Replace chart scanning with data review or journaling. Micro wins. Reward yourself for not taking a bad trade. The goal isn't to eliminate excitement, it's to rebuild tolerance for slower, higher quality trades. Addiction number 2, social validation loops. During the meme boom, success wasn't measured by P and L alone, it was measured by engagement. If your trade got likes, retweets, or upvotes on Reddit, it mattered. This created a social reinforcement loop. Your brain linked public recognition to trading success. The danger? You start trading to impress, not to win. You feel more satisfaction from posting a screenshot than from following your plan. You subconsciously size up positions for wow factor instead of probability. Social psychologist BJ Fogg calls this social proof conditioning, when your behavior is shaped by perceived approval from the group. Over time, your internal scoreboard gets replaced by an external scoreboard. The fix: go private at least for a season. No P and L posts, no trade alerts, No brag screenshots, journal offline. Force your wins and losses to matter to you first. Once you've rebuilt that internal scoreboard, share again if you want, but from a place of self-trust, not crowd approval. One trader deleted Twitter for 30 days. He told me, it was weird without the dopamine hit of likes. I realized I didn't even like half the trades I was taking. His performance improved 18% the month after he returned because he stopped optimizing for applause. Addiction number 3, narrative attachment. Meme trading thrived on story trades, David versus Goliath, retail versus hedge funds, us versus them, and while narratives can motivate, they also blind. Once you believe in a story, it's harder to cut a loser because you're not just exiting a trade, you're abandoning the cause. This attachment keeps traders holding bags for months, telling themselves the squeeze is coming while their account bleeds. Cognitive dissonance theory says that once we publicly commit to a belief, we will defend it, even against hard evidence, because changing our mind feels like an attack on our identity. In trading, that means the more loudly you post about your conviction, the harder it is to exit when the market proves you wrong. The fix: separate narrative conviction from chart conviction. Before entering, ask, if this exact setup had no story, would I still trade it? If the answer is no, you're not trading, you're gambling with a plotline. Action drill: find your last 3 losing trades. Identify whether you justified holding because of story or setup. If story wins, journal exactly how much that belief cost you. The meme era ended in headlines, but its psychological fingerprints are still on thousands of traders' decision-making. Break these 3 addictions, and you don't just recover discipline, you recover your independence. Because the real win in trading isn't just P and L, it's freedom from emotional outsourcing. Chapter 4: Mindset Merchants, when mental mastery becomes the new marketing. First, they sold you the dream of moonshots. Then, they sold you diamond hands. Now, they're selling you mindset. The thumbnails swapped rocket emojis for brains. The titles went from "This stock will explode tomorrow" to "The psychology that made me $1 million." And at first glance, this looks like progress. But is it? The influencer pivot into mindset isn't accidental, it's strategic. Because hype is a seasonal crop, it dies when volatility dries up. But mindset, that's evergreen. You can package it, brand it, monetize it year-round. The script of the value shift pitch goes like this. I used to chase pumps and hype. I made and lost fortunes. Then I realized it's all about psychology. Now I trade with discipline, and I can teach you to do the same. It's not always dishonest. Some influencers do change, but we have to recognize what's marketing narrative and what's genuine evolution. The good news: if authentic, this shift can massively improve retail trader outcomes. Mindset-first education helps traders survive the learning curve long enough to develop an edge. The risk: mindset as content can be just as performative as hype. It becomes about looking disciplined online while making the same emotional trades offline. In behavioral economics, this is called virtue signaling, projecting a value publicly to gain credibility or status without necessarily living it privately. That's why you'll see influencers posting process over profits, while still showcasing giant wins. Endless motivational quotes, but no real transparency about losses. Mindset lessons that sound good, but lack actionable steps. One Instagram trader gained 100K followers posting daily discipline, reels, breathing exercises, morning routines, risk management, pep talks. But in his private Discord, members reported he was still calling out low-flow penny stocks with 50% swings. The brand was discipline. The behavior was FOMO. Why this matters for you? The most dangerous misinformation is the one you want to believe. If you want to be a disciplined trader, you'll latch on to anyone who seems to model that. But without vetting their behavior, you risk downloading a mindset that's theater, not truth. Spotting real versus perform mindset. Loss transparency. Do they openly break down losing trades? If every video is a win, you're not seeing reality, you're seeing highlight reels, process receipts. Do they show journaling, planning, pre-market prep consistently? If they talk process but never show it, it's branding, not behavior. Consistency over time. Has their message and behavior aligned for at least a year? True mindset change isn't a 3-month trend. Low drama. Legitimate educators don't need hype cycles to stay relevant. If every other post is an urgent update, they're still hooked on adrenaline engagement. Psychologist Robert Cialdini's work on persuasion highlights something called commitment consistency bias. Once someone publicly declares a new identity, they feel pressure to act in line with it. That means when the influencer says, "I'm now a discipline-first trader," they're incentivized to maintain that appearance, whether or not their private trades match. This creates two kinds of mindset educators. The aligned mentor. Their private behavior matches their public message. The perform mentor. They've rebranded for survival, but their habits haven't caught up. Your job. Don't assume alignment, verify it. Watch for moments where their words and actions meet under stress. For example, how do they respond publicly to a losing streak? Do they quietly disappear until they have another win to show? Do they ever admit, "I broke my own rule today"? Those cracks reveal the truth. Action step. The 30-day filter. For 1 month, stop consuming any trading content that's purely hype or purely motivational. Only follow voices that give you a complete loop, the setup, the psychology behind it, the risk plan. The outcome, good or bad. By the end of those 30 days, you notice your tolerance for empty motivation shrinks dramatically. Pro tip: once you've filtered your influences, write down their top 3 principles and check them against your own. If you're living someone else's philosophy that doesn't match your temperament or edge, you're not learning mindset, you're inheriting bias. Chapter 5. 5 ways influencers can genuinely improve your trading psychology, and the 1 red flag to run from. Influencers get a bad rap in trading circles, and for good reason. Many rode the meme wave for clout, selling calls and courses while quietly cashing out before the crowd. But here's the truth nobody admits. A good influencer with the right approach can actually shorten your learning curve and protect you from your own worst habits. The key is knowing the difference between mental leverage and mental bait. 1. Modeling emotional regulation. Trading isn't just about strategy, it's about state control. When you watch someone stay calm through a losing streak, you are seeing emotional modeling in real time. Neuroscientists call this mirror neuron activation. Your brain can borrow someone else's composure just by observing it. That's why watching a level-headed trader during volatility can rewire your own responses faster than reading 10 books on discipline. In the 2020's COVID crash, I followed a futures trader who had 5 losing trades in a single day. Most streamers would have blown up on camera, but he calmly walked viewers through each setup, each stop, and exactly why he was sticking to plan. One comment said, "This stream taught me more about controlling panic than any course I've bought." That's the power of seeing composure lived, not just preached. Pro tip: if you follow someone for mindset, watch how they behave in downswings, not just what they post afterward. 2. Translating psychology into tactics. The best influencers don't just say, "Control your emotions." They give you frameworks, position sizing formulas tied to account percent, pre-market checklists that filter out emotional trades. Journaling prompts like, "What bias drove this entry?" Without these tactical bridges, "Be disciplined" is just a slogan. Why this matters. Psychology is the fuel, but tactics are the steering wheel. Without both, you're just idling in the driveway. Advanced tip: when you hear a mindset lesson, immediately ask, how can I turn this into a mechanical step in my process? If you can't answer, the lesson is incomplete. 3. Normalizing slow growth. In meme culture, slow growth is treated like failure. A skilled influencer can rewire this expectation by celebrating incremental gains and downplaying lottery-style wins. Psychologist Teresa Amabile's research proves consistent progress is the single biggest driver of long-term performance. One swing trader I followed ended 2021 with just plus 8% on the year. Instead of apologizing, he posted, 8% in a bear market year means I get to play next year. That's the win. That shift in framing helped hundreds of followers stop chasing desperation trades in December. 4. Teaching you to spot bias. Great educators expose bias in real time. Confirmation bias. overvaluing data that supports your trade. Recency bias, overweighting your last result. Loss aversion, cutting winners too soon, holding losers too long. An options trader posted a losing trade breakdown with the caption, "This wasn't bad luck, it was recency bias from my last big win." That one sentence turned a generic loss post into a bias lesson thousands could apply instantly. Pro tip, follow people who share bias moments as they happen, not just in hindsight highlight reels. 5. Creating accountability structures. Solo traders drift because no one's watching. Good influencers can fix that by building weekly group reviews, public trade journals, pre-market plan submissions. A futures group required every member to post their planned trades by 8:30 a.m. Over 90 days, impulsive trades dropped 42%. That's the math of accountability. Advanced tip, if you're in a trading community, don't just consume, participate. The act of declaring your plan creates psychological ownership. The one red flag, dependency loops. If your trades rely on their watch list, their entries and exits, their market bias, you're in danger. Dependency feels safe in the short term but lethal in the long term. When they disappear, so does your edge. Filter question, if they vanish tomorrow, could I still execute my plan confidently? If the answer is no, you're renting someone else's brain. Final takeaway for Chapter 5. A good influencer isn't your crutch, they're your catalyst. If their presence accelerates your independence, keep them. If it delays it, cut them loose. Chapter 6. Hooked on the feed. How influencers use engagement psychology to keep you watching and trading. If you think your favorite trading influencer's content is just off the cuff, think again. From the headline to the lighting to the way they time their pauses, it's all engineered. And it's engineered for one thing, engagement. Because in the creator economy, attention is currency, and nothing buys more attention than keeping your brain in a constant state of anticipation. The psychology of the scroll trap of social platforms are built on variable reward schedules, the same principle slot machines use. You never know when the next hit of value will arrive, so you keep watching, scrolling, and refreshing. Trading influencers weaponize this by stacking microhooks throughout their videos. Wait until you see the last trade of the day. The next chart is going to blow your mind. One more tip that saved me $10,000. Every one of these keeps you from clicking away and keeps your dopamine system on a drip feed. This affects your trading psychology because the brain doesn't separate dopamine from content and dopamine from trades. It just learns anticipation feels good. That's why traders who binge hype content often develop over-trading urges, FOMO spikes during dead markets, impulsive position sizing, resistance to slower, more methodical trading. Dopamine isn't just a pleasure chemical, it's a motivation amplifier. According to Stanford neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, dopamine's main role is to drive seeking behavior, and in trading, that means constantly scanning for the next hit. When you get this stimulus from influencer content, your brain starts expecting the market to deliver that same high, which is dangerous in low volatility or choppy conditions. During the meme stock peak, one influencer averaged 60K live viewers. Every time he took a trade, chat exploded with "in" or "YOLO." He later admitted he started forcing entries just to keep the stream exciting even when they didn't match his plan. If he felt that pressure with years of experience, imagine the pressure on viewers trying to keep up in real time. It's not just emotional, it's contagious risk-taking. Most influencers use at least 3 of these engagement levers. 1. Scarcity language. This setup won't happen again for years. Social proof, flashing profit screenshots mid-video, urgency triggers. You have to get in before 10:05 a.m. Cliffhangers, withholding the big tip until the end. Identity hooks, framing you as part of a movement or team. The risk, when you consume this daily, you stop processing content analytically. You process it emotionally. Your guard drops, your skepticism softens, and your trading discipline erodes. Overall, you should protect your mental capital. You can't control how influencers market, but you can control how you consume. 3 rules. Separate education from execution. Watch for learning, but plan trades when you're away from the content. Limit live stream trading. It's fine for observation, but don't mirror trades in real time. Detox the feed. Curate your follows quarterly. If a creator spikes your adrenaline more than your insight, mute them. The healthy consumption framework. Most traders binge content, videos, tweets, Discord groups, and then they copy-paste trades straight into the market. That's not learning. That's gambling with a disguise. Here's how the pros do it. Intentional viewing. Decide before you hit play what you're looking to learn, not entertainment, not signals. One lesson, note extraction. Write down the principle, not the trade idea. Because principles last, signals expire. Independent testing. Apply the lesson to your setups, backtest it, demo it, prove it fits. Only then do risk real capital. Delay the action. Any new idea waits at least one trading day. No instant copy trading. No, I just saw this on YouTube, so let's fire it up. This pause saves accounts. Now here's the advanced filter, the energy audit. After watching an influencer, ask yourself, do I feel calmer and focused or hyped and impatient? If it's hype more than half the time, that content is draining your discipline account. Here's the psychology. When you delay execution, your prefrontal cortex, your logic center, takes control. It overrides the limbic system, the emotional, impulsive side. That one pause, it can save you from hundreds of bad trades a year. Chapter 7. The Content Paradox. Why more trading education can make you worse. It sounds impossible. How could more education make you a worse trader? But ask anyone who's binge-watched courses, YouTube videos, Discord recaps, and Twitter threads for months, only to see their execution fall apart. They'll tell you, it's real. Because there's a point where learning stops adding clarity and starts adding conflict. When education turns into noise, at first, every new concept feels like a breakthrough. Risk management, position sizing, entry triggers. Each one adds structure, but then you pile on conflicting strategies, competing risk rules, contradictory market outlooks, and suddenly you're running 5 playbooks in your head at once. The result? Frozen decision-making or frantic overtrading, sometimes both in the same week. Cognitive load theory says your working memory can only process so much at once. Overloaded and performance drops even if the information is good. In trading, that means too many inputs equals slower reactions, weaker conviction, more second guessing. The trading content world is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Options trading, crypto scalping, swing setups, order flow analysis. It all looks good. Individually, fine. Together, it makes you sick. One trader studied ICT order blocks, Elliott wave theory, MACD divergences, Fibonacci retracements. He wasn't bad at any of them, but he never stuck long enough to master one. Every losing week sent him chasing the missing piece. But the problem wasn't a missing piece, it was too many pieces. The hidden emotional trap. Information overload doesn't just cloud logic. It fuels frustration, because when you consume too much, you create expectation debt. With all this knowledge, I should be killing it by now. That gap between expectation and reality, it breeds tilt, revenge trading, system hopping, even quitting. You hesitate on entries because another strategy might disagree. You rewrite your trading plan every month. You feel less confident now than when you knew less. Your watch list grows while your win rate drops. You change mentors more often than you review your journal. Breaking out of the paradox? The fix isn't zero content, it's filtered content. Choose one framework, pick the style and time frame that fit your personality, commit 6 months, set an ideal quarantine, new concept, write it in the parking lot journal. Don't change your system on impulse. Audit your mentors. Only follow educators aligned with your framework. Unfollow the rest even if they're good. Pro tip: once a month, do a content fast. No videos, no threads, no courses, just you, your charts, your journal. Within days, execution feels sharper because your brain finally gets space to breathe. My final thought is that more knowledge isn't automatically more power. Power comes from depth, not breadth. Mastery comes from doing one thing exceptionally well, not chasing every shiny setup you scroll past online. Chapter 8: The Mentor Mirage. Why most traders mistake content creators for coaches. She thought she had a mentor, daily live streams, DM replies, even the occasional good trade emoji on her Instagram story. But 6 months later, after blowing 2 accounts, she realized something. She'd never actually spoken to him about her trading. He wasn't a mentor, he was a broadcaster. Content creators can feel like coaches because of the parasocial relationship, a one-sided emotional connection where the viewer feels they know the creator despite zero direct relationship. The more relatable they seem, the more we assume they're guiding us personally. But here's the truth. Most aren't watching you. They're watching their own metrics. Psychologists Horton and Wall coined parasocial interaction in the 1950s, describing how media personalities can create an illusion of intimacy. Today, social media supercharges this, especially in trading, where the stakes are emotional and financial. Mentor versus influencer, the core difference. A real mentor knows your trading history, tracks your progress, gives personalized feedback, holds you accountable for execution. An influencer produces content for the masses, shares generalized advice, may answer questions, but without tailored context. Why the mirage is dangerous. 1. False security. You think someone is watching your back, when in reality you're trading alone. Generic advice overload. Without context, even good advice can be irrelevant or harmful. Delayed independence. You stop building self-reliance because you believe guidance is already built in. One trader built his entire approach around replicating an influencer's style down to the indicators and chart colors. When the influencer switched markets mid-year, his system fell apart. Why? Because it was never his system, it was borrowed, without adaptation. But how to spot a real mentor? Ask yourself, do they review my trades specifically? Have they ever corrected my mistakes? Have they seen my trading plan and journal? If the answer is no across the board, you don't have a mentor, you have a content source. The mentor audit checklist. To run a quick self-assessment. Step 1, review contact. Do you have scheduled check-ins? Is there a clear feedback loop? Step 2, assess context. Have they asked about your goals, account size, risk tolerance? Step 3, measure feedback quality. Are corrections specific to you, or are they recycled phrases from public content? Step 4, evaluate growth evidence. Can you point to measurable improvement directly tied to their guidance? The invisible coach. A trader in my circle swore she had one of the best mentors in the game. When I asked how they work together, she said, well, I watch all his videos and sometimes he likes my comments. That's not mentorship, that's fandom. For building a real mentorship model, follow the 3 steps. Go small. Look for small, focused communities where feedback is direct and regular. Pay for skin in the game. Free advice is fine, but paid mentorships with accountability structures are more likely to engage deeply. Reverse the lens. Don't ask, who can I follow? Ask, who can follow me closely enough to give real feedback? Pro tip, a balanced mentorship relationship has education, lessons, frameworks, strategies, observation, mentor sees you trade, correction, feedback tailored to your execution. If one leg is missing, you're not in mentorship, you're in content consumption. Chapter 9, the echo chamber effect. How trading communities amplify bad habits. It started as a small Discord, a handful of traders swapping watch lists and cheering each other on. 6 months later, it was a non-stop hype machine. Every green day screenshot got pinned. Every red day was buried in silence. The worst part? The same losing behaviors were being repeated and celebrated over and over. What is the echo chamber effect? An echo chamber isn't just a political term. In trading, it's any closed environment where the same beliefs and habits bounce back and forth until they become truth, whether they're profitable or not. When everyone's repeating the same mantra, buy the dip, YOLO the earnings, double down on red, critical thinking dies. And when critical thinking dies, risk management usually follows. The social proof trap. Humans are wired to conform. According to Solomon Ash's classic conformity experiments, people will give obviously wrong answers if enough others around them agree on the wrong answer. In trading rooms, this plays out when you see 10 traders pile into a questionable setup, your FOMO kicks in, convincing you they must be right. You follow even though you never take that trade alone. A penny stock Discord I observed had a simple rule: never sell until the mod sells. One bad call turned a 40% gain into a 60% loss for the entire group because nobody wanted to be the first to exit. The mod didn't lose, he was out early. But the echo chamber kept everyone else trapped. Why communities drift toward risk? One, survivorship bias. Only the big wins get posted, skewing everyone's perception of what's normal. Positive reinforcement of bad trades. If a risky trade wins, the risk gets normalized. Silencing of dissent. Members who question the group get ignored or kicked. Emotional contagion. Research from the University of California shows emotions spread through groups like viruses, especially in fast-paced, high-stress environments like trading. The hidden cost of groupthink. Even if you don't blow your account, echo chambers cost you something deeper: independent conviction. Once you lose the ability to trust your own analysis without the group's approval, you are no longer a trader, you're a follower with a brokerage account. Breaking the echo chamber spell. 1. Diversity of input. Follow traders with opposing styles. Even if you disagree, you'll see blind spots in your own thinking. 2. Private journaling. Keep a log of what you would have done without group influence, then compare to what you actually did. 3. Pre-commitment plans. Write your trade rules before logging into chat. Follow the plan, not the noise. 4. Set no trade boundaries. If you're in a high-energy chat, commit to never entering a trade you hadn't already planned before joining the conversation. A futures trader in a Telegram group realized 80% of his worst trades were ideas he never planned. All came from chat hype. He started using a sticky note rule: no unplanned trades after 9:30 a.m. 6 weeks later, his win rate jumped 14% without changing his strategy, just by cutting the echo chamber trades. Pro tip: if you notice your risk tolerance changing only when the group is active, you're being conditioned by the echo chamber. Step away for a week and track the difference most traders find. They take fewer, better trades when they fly solo. Chapter 10. The Anti-Echo Chamber. Building a trading circle that accelerates yours. A healthy trading community isn't the loudest, the biggest, or the one with the most green screenshots. It's the one where you can post a losing trade and get constructive feedback, not ridicule, not silence, and definitely not a meme about your stop loss. Because a real trading circle doesn't just hype your wins, it sharpens your process. What makes a healthy trading circle different? Transparency over hype. Losses are discussed openly, not hidden. Diversity of strategy. Members run different playbooks, reducing groupthink. Accountability systems. Members review each other's trades regularly, with emphasis on execution over outcome. Clear boundaries. The group culture discourages impulsive copy trading. The science of positive peer pressure. Stanford University research shows that peer accountability increases goal adherence by up to 95%. When applied to trading, this means fewer impulse trades, more consistent journaling, greater discipline in sticking to your plan. A small group of 6 swing traders met every Sunday night on Zoom. Each trader posted their weekly P&L, walked through 1 to 2 key trades, shared one thing they'd improve next week. After 90 days, every member saw measurable improvement, not because of magic strategies, but because the group was built on process review, not signal chasing. How to build your own anti-echo chamber. Step 1. Start small. 3 to 6 traders is the sweet spot. Big enough for diverse ideas, small enough for real accountability. Step 2. Set rules. Early, no live, get in now calls. All trade posts must include reasoning and risk plan, and losses must be shared alongside wins. Step 3. Focus on reflection, not prediction. The most valuable group discussions are about what happened and why, not guessing what's next. Advanced accountability structures. The rotation chair. Each week, one member leads the review session. They set the agenda, keep the discussion on track, and ensure every trade gets analyzed. The red team drill. Assign one member to challenge every idea. Their job isn't to be negative, it's to find weak points in the plan so the group can strengthen them. The execution scorecard. Instead of focusing only on P&L, each member grades himself weekly on plan adherence, risk, discipline, and emotional control. This keeps the focus on habits, not just outcomes. One futures group had a rule. First person to post a loss each week kicked off the discussion. It removed shame from red days and turned them into learning catalysts. Within 6 months, average drawdowns dropped 40% across the group. Even a well-meaning group can drift. Stay alert if you see more hype posts than analysis. Members suddenly taking identical trades without discussion, losses disappearing from conversation. When this happens, address it early or leave before it turns into another echo chamber. Pro tip: rotate devil's advocate duty weekly. One member challenges every trade idea to force deeper thinking. This not only tests conviction, it keeps groupthink in check. Chapter 11. The Dopamine Detox for Traders. A 7-day mental reset to rebuild your focus. Your problem isn't discipline, it's dopamine debt. Every flashing candle, every Discord ping, every breaking news headline is a micro hit of stimulation. Individually, they seem harmless. But over weeks, your brain becomes hooked on the chase, not the execution. And when your nervous system is addicted to constant novelty, quiet, patient, high-quality trading feels boring, so you sabotage it. Dopamine isn't just a pleasure chemical, it's your motivation signal. The more you flood your brain with rapid spikes from charts, notifications, and influencer content, the more your baseline drops. That means you need bigger hits to feel motivated and calm. Methodical trading setups stop triggering excitement. Neuroscientist Dr. Anna Lemke calls this the dopamine seesaw. Chronic overstimulation pushes your baseline motivation lower until even profitable trades feel dull. The 7-day dopamine detox for traders. This isn't about quitting trading. It's about rewiring your brain to find satisfaction in the right kind of market activity. Day 1, the audit. Write down every source of trading dopamine. Chart refreshing, Discord chats, Twitter feeds, watch list scanning. Rank them from most to least stimulating. Day 2, kill the top 2. Eliminate your top 2 stimulation sources for the week. Example: no Discord alerts, no Twitter scroll during market hours. Day 3, chart windows. Only open charts at preset times, like for example market open, lunch, and close. No random refreshing. Day 4, slow execution drill. If you see a setup, force a 2-minute wait before entry. Use that time to double check risk, size, and plan. Day 5, deep work block. Spend 1 hour journal reviewing trades from the past month without looking at live markets. The goal? Train satisfaction from reflection, not reaction. Day 6, single screen trading. Remove extra monitors and trade from one screen, reduces visual overload and hyperscanning. Day 7, boredom tolerance test. Spend 30 minutes watching price action without taking any trade. Notice urges and let them pass. Why does this work? When you lower dopamine spikes, your baseline motivation gradually rises. That's why the same slow, boring setups start to feel satisfying again. Think of it like resetting your taste buds. After a week without sugar, fruit tastes sweeter. After a week without hype, steady trades feel exciting. Extra exercises for faster reset. The no news morning. Don't check any news feed before your first planned trade. Removes bias and dopamine jolts from headlines. Micro meditation before trades. 30 seconds of eyes closed breathing before pressing buy or sell to recenter your nervous system. The urge log. Each time you want to take an unplanned trade, write down the time, reason, and emotion. After a week, you'll see your FOMO triggers in black and white. A scalper I worked with cut out all pre-market Discord chats for 1 week. By day 4, he reported his setups felt clearer and his win rate jumped from 48% to 61% without changing a single technical rule. Maintaining the gains. After the detox, reintroduce stimulation sources slowly. Keep your top 2 dopamine drains, such as endless chart refreshing or hype streams, off limits during trading hours. Reserve them for after the bell so they don't hijack your decision making. Pro tip: the goal isn't permanent deprivation. It's to reset your baseline so the boring but profitable trades start feeling rewarding again. Chapter 12: The Patience Muscle. Training yourself to wait for A+. In 2014, a prop firm in Chicago ran a brutal experiment. They gave 2 groups of traders the same exact system, one with strict rules to only take A+ setups, the other free to take anything that looked good. The first group averaged a 14% monthly return. The second group, they barely broke even. The only difference was patience. Why patience is a skill, not a personality trait. Many traders think they just aren't patient by nature, but neuroscience says otherwise. Patience is a form of delayed gratification, the same mental process tested in the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment. In that study, kids who could wait 15 minutes for 2 marshmallows instead of eating one immediately went on to have better life outcomes decades later. Trading is the adult version of that test. Every time you wait for your A+ setup, you're resisting the brain's short-term dopamine cravings in favor of a higher probability long-term payout. The good news? This is trainable. The 3 levels of trading patience. Level 1, pre-trade patience, waiting for the market to align with your criteria. Level 2, in-trade patience, letting a trade play out without cutting winners short. Level 3, post-trade patience, resisting the urge to jump right back in. A futures trader had a system that won 62% of the time when trades were held to target, but she kept closing early after small pullbacks. When we tracked it, her win rate dropped to 38% purely from exiting too soon. Her strategy didn't need fixing. Her patience muscle did. Training the patience muscle. 1. The screenshot delay drill. Before entering, take a screenshot of your chart. Only enter if it still matches your A+ setup after 5 minutes. 2. The 1 trade rule. Limit yourself to 1 trade per session. It forces selectivity and kills boredom trading. 3. The timer hold. Once in the trade, set a timer for your minimum hold time. You can't exit before it rings unless your stop is hit. The psychology behind patience. Patience in trading is often a battle with 2 biases. Action bias, the tendency to feel better when doing something rather than waiting. Loss aversion, the fear of losing unrealized gains, which pushes traders to exit early. To train patience, you have to build trust that inaction can be the most profitable action. One trader committed to taking only setups that matched all 5 of his criteria. The first week, he didn't take a single trade. He thought it was wasted time until the next week, when 2 perfect setups appeared, and he hit his best P&L month in over a year. Pro tip: journal how you felt when you waited for a great setup versus forcing a trade. Over time, you'll associate patience with satisfaction, not frustration. Chapter 13. The Overconfidence Trap. How winning streaks set you up for big losses. It's not your losing streak that worries me. It's your winning streak. Because in trading, success has a strange side effect. It makes you forget what made you successful in the first place. Winning streaks feel good, so good that they actually alter your brain chemistry. Dopamine spikes after wins increase risk tolerance, reduce caution, and create a subtle illusion of invincibility. Behavioral finance researchers call this the house money effect. When we're up, we start treating gains as free money and take bigger risks than we normally would. A trader passed a 100K funded challenge in 14 days. For the first month, he traded small, stuck to his setups, and ended up 12%. Then came the shift. He doubled his position size because it was house money. 2 weeks later, he was back at break even, and a week after that, he blew the account. Nothing in the market had changed. His psychology had. The subtle warning signs of overconfidence. 1. Increase in size without a documented reason. Taking trades outside your playbook. Ignoring stop losses just this once. Feeling boredom with your old setups. Thinking you can see the market without confirmation signals. When you win repeatedly, your brain releases dopamine and testosterone in tandem. Dopamine fuels the I can do anything optimism, and testosterone adds the I need to prove I can. It's a dangerous cocktail, and in markets, it leads to more risk at exactly the wrong time. One trader made 5 winning trades in a row on Tesla calls. By Friday, he decided to swing for the fences with weekly options on an earnings play, a setup he never touched before. It expired worthless overnight. When asked why he took it, he admitted, I thought the market was mine that week. That's the trap success shifts you from following your edge to proving your dominance. How to protect yourself after a hot streak? 1. The cooldown rule. After a streak of 3 or more consecutive green days, reduce your position size by 50% for the next 2 sessions. 2. The baseline recheck. Review your original risk parameters weekly. If they've crept up, reset them. 3. The humility journal. Write down 3 market reminders each week about trades you misread, setups you missed, and factors outside your control. 4. Withdraw and reset. Pull a percentage of your gains into a separate account. Seeing your account drop slightly will naturally reduce the urge to overtrade. The cold shower technique. When you feel invincible, take an hour to review your worst losing streak from the past year. Reread journal notes from those days. The emotional memory of pain can cool the chemical high of a hot streak. One trader I worked with set a hard monthly gain limit of 5%. If he hit it early, he shifted to simulation trading for the rest of the month. This preserved his edge, and over a year, he ended up with 11 consecutive profitable months. Pro tip: treat every win as borrowed, not owned, until it's withdrawn or banked. It keeps you hungry and humble. Chapter 14. The Self-Image Gap. Why traders sabotage success when it finally arrives. In 2020, a swing trader doubled her account in just 3 months. It was the fastest growth she'd ever had. Then almost overnight, she gave half of it back. Not because the market changed, not because her strategy failed, but because her self-image couldn't handle being that kind of trader yet. What is the self-image gap? Your self-image is the mental blueprint of who you believe yourself to be. If your account size or success level leaps far ahead of that blueprint, you'll unconsciously pull yourself back to where you believe you belong. Psychologist Maxwell Maltz called this the psycho-cybernetic set point, like a thermostat. Your brain tries to keep your results aligned with your self-image. Why it hits traders hard? Trading is one of the few careers where your results can change drastically in weeks. A single great month can take you from small lot scalper to 5-figure position trader. But if your identity is still, I'm the guy grinding $50 a day, you'll make decisions that shrink your results to match that identity. A day trader who averaged 3K a month had a breakout run and made 28K in March. In April, he overtraded, took unnecessary risks, and ignored his own rules, ending down 12K. When asked why, he said, "It just didn't feel like that money was really mine." The psychology behind it is that your subconscious wants congruence alignment between who you believe you are and what your results show. When results exceed your identity, self-sabotage is the brain's way of restoring balance. In behavioral finance, this is linked to status quo bias, the tendency to stick to familiar conditions even if they're worse than your current reality. Closing the self-image gap. Most traders blow up not because their system fails, but because their identity lags behind their results. You can't trade 10K discipline with a 100K account, and you can't expect to hold size that your self-image still rejects. 1. Upgrade your identity early. Before you scale, see yourself there. Visualize trading bigger size with the same calm execution you have now. 2. Normalize higher numbers. Journal your account balance daily, even when it feels too big. The goal? Make larger numbers feel normal, not scary. Anchor to process, not profit. Stop asking, how much did I make? Start asking, how well did I execute? Process scales. Ego doesn't. 4. Practice small wins at bigger size. Don't leap from $200 risk to $2,000 risk overnight. Step up slowly. Let your self-image catch up before the numbers run ahead. Advanced identity work for traders. The future self-script. Write a 1-page day in the life of the trader you'll be in 2 years. How you think, how you trade, how you feel. Read it before each session. Remind your brain where you're headed. The mirror trade check. Before you click buy or sell, ask, would my future self take this setup at this size? The success rehearsal. Run mental simulations. Holding large gains without panic. Scaling into bigger positions with calm. This wires your nervous system to handle wins before they come. One trader built what she called identity ladders. Every time she scaled size, she held it steady for 3 months. No rush, no leaps, just giving her mind time to become the trader at that level. Over 2 years, she scaled from $100 risk per trade to $2,000. Not one major drawdown. Why? Because her self-image grew step by step with her numbers. Ask yourself daily, am I trading like the trader I want to be or the trader I've always been? Chapter 15. The Emotional Bankroll. Protecting your mental capital through the highs and lows. The emotional bankroll. A profitable swing trader went on a 6-trade losing streak. Financially, it was just minus 5%, well within plan, but mentally, he was done. He doubled his size to make it back, lost again, and in 1 week, turned a manageable drawdown into his worst month ever. That's the real danger. Not losing money, but losing your emotional bankroll. Every trader thinks capital only lives in their account, but there's another account hidden in your head. When it drains, your discipline drains. And when discipline drains, the system breaks. Decision fatigue chips away at it. Every micro choice burns energy you don't realize you're spending. Screen overload eats at it. Tick by tick, your nervous system burns out. Social comparison magnifies it. Other traders flex wins while you're stuck in red, and suddenly your process feels worthless. And the silent killer, sleep debt. Trading on low red slashes, impulse control by almost half. That's not weakness, that's biology. So how do you refill it? First, schedule breaks. Plan days away from the screen before the market forces them on you. It feels counterintuitive, but paradoxically, stepping away prevents overtrading. Second, the small win reset. After a rough streak, aim for the tiniest, cleanest win possible, not to recover money, to recover confidence. Third, the no trade day. Close the charts. Journal, review, reset. Some of your most profitable days won't show up on your P&L. And finally, the environment shift. Trade from a different spot. Change your state, change your perspective. Sometimes the room you're in is part of the problem. One trader I coached hit minus 8% in 2 weeks. He forced himself to take 3 full days off. Came back refreshed. Made back 4% in the first week, but more importantly, he stopped the emotional bleeding before it wrecked his process. This is why you need a mental stop loss. A trigger for when to stop trading. Not because of the chart, but because of yourself. Did you sleep less than 6 hours? Are you anxious before open? Are you trading to get back at the market? If 2 or more are true, then shut it down. Because here's the full circle truth. Back in chapter 1, we talked about why traders with great systems still blow up. It's not because of bad setups. It's because they ran out of mental capital before they ran out of financial capital. The trader who protects their emotional bankroll can survive streaks, resist revenge trades, and keep their edge intact. The one who ignores it can be brilliant and still fail. The best traders don't just manage risk on charts, they manage risk in their mind. Because your account balance is a lagging indicator, your mental balance is the leading one. Climax. You came here for trading psychology tips, but you've probably realized by now this isn't really about trading. It's about you. Because every pattern you fought in the market, the hesitation, the overtrading, the revenge setups, the self-sabotage, those didn't start here. They were built long before you ever opened a chart. Think back to that trader from chapter 1, the one with the perfect system who still blew up. She didn't fail because she didn't know what to do. She failed because when it mattered, the version of her that could do it didn't show up. And if you're honest, you've been there too. That's the real game. Not finding a magic indicator, not guessing the Fed's next move, but building a mind that can execute no matter what the market throws at you. You've seen what happens when you don't. Overconfidence turns streaks into disasters. A broken self-image drags you back down. An empty emotional bankroll pushes you into decisions you swore you'd never make again. But you've also seen the way forward, the anti-echo chamber that keeps you accountable, the dopamine detox that resets your focus, the patience muscle that makes waiting your edge, the self-image upgrade that lets you keep what you earn, the emotional bankroll that protects your mental capital. These aren't just ideas. They're the hidden architecture of long-term profitability. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The market doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your effort. It doesn't even care if you're right. It only rewards the trader who can show up fully present again and again without letting emotion, ego, or exhaustion corrupt the plan. And that's why all of this matters. You're not just learning to trade charts. You're learning to trade yourself. Every day you sit down at that desk, you're making a deal with the market and with the person you want to become. And here's the deal you need to make today. I will not let my worst impulses trade my account. I will protect my mental capital as fiercely as my financial capital. And I will build a version of me that can win, then show up as that version every single time. Because the strategy will come. The setups will come. But the trader who can wait for them, execute them, and survive the long stretches in between, that's the trader who stays. And staying is the real edge. Outro. If you've made it this far, you've already done something most traders never do. You've looked in the mirror. You've faced the truth that your biggest opponent isn't the market, isn't the algorithm, isn't the Fed. It's you. And that's not bad news. That's the best news you'll ever hear. Because it means the power to fix it is already in your hands. Here's what I want you to do next. Pick one mental shift from this video. The one that hit you hardest. Not all of them, just one. Write it down, make it your focus for the next 7 days. Track your emotional bankroll like it's your account balance. Check it before the session, protect it during the session, refill it after the session. Share your breakthrough in the comments. Because this channel isn't about shouting ideas into the void, it's about building a community of traders who work on the real game together. If you want more videos that go this deep into the psychology, the neuroscience, the hidden human patterns that decide who survives and who blows up, hit subscribe. Because the markets will always change, but the trader who can manage themselves will always have an edge. And if this video helped you see your trading in a new light, give it a like. Not because it helps the algorithm, but because it tells me to keep making content like this. The market isn't a war you fight once, it's a war you fight daily. And now you've got new weapons. So load them, use them, and I'll see you in the next battle.